What's going on, guys? This is Andy, and today we're going to be going over the Nintendo Direct that dropped yesterday. This is actually my second time making this video, because the first time I didn't realize, because I kind of had a little mini cold, and I didn't realize how much I sniffled and coughed and sneezed during the video, that editing it just became a pain, and I sounded really bad in it, so I'm completely redoing it. But yeah, overall, the Direct that happened yesterday, I thought was pretty good, actually. It was a really good Direct. It wasn't amazing. I wouldn't say it was the best Direct ever, but it was solid. It was definitely a solid Direct. I could nitpick and say and complain that we didn't see Animal Crossing. I could nitpick and say we didn't see Luigi's Mansion 3. I guess Pokemon is irrelevant, since that usually always gets its own Direct or presentation. But really, those things aside, the Direct was really good. So I'm not going to talk about every conceivable thing in the Direct. If you want just to hear about all the news, watch the Direct itself. But I'm gonna sit here and just a little discussion video just to give you my thoughts and opinions on the show. So first off, Super Mario Maker 2, they just started the Direct with that, which I thought was awesome. How they I don't know, I was about to say they kind of owned the leaks almost, because a lot of people were expecting Mario Maker 2. Probably they had all this video editing and stuff, all the video editing and stuff for the Direct done before KingsL even mentioned the leaks to anyone. But still, I kind of like how they owned it. They were like, Mario Maker 2, right off the bat. You guys know what's up. This is a Nintendo Direct. Get hype. So, Mario Maker 2 looked really good. That game was always one of my favorite games on the Wii U. So, getting a proper sequel, not just a port on the Switch, makes me really happy. They're adding a lot of new additions. I forget if the one part I saw star coins or if there were just the big coins, but there's so many new additions. I think you can set the speed of the side scrolling now, which I forget if you could do that before. But on top of that, there's an entire Super Mario 3D World asset theme now, in addition to the previous 4. So you can have the Cat Bell trees, you can have the Cat Bell power up itself, a whole bunch of the enemies that were exclusive to the Super Mario World game or 3D World game. A lot of really cool things in there. A lot of smaller little things were added too that I can't think of every little thing right now. You can play as more characters, I'm pretty sure. Luigi's on the front cover of the game. Also, in the promotional art for the game, there's a picture of a Toadette and a Toad. So I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to play as all 4 of those characters, which is really cool. More characters, more assets, more lively online community. This is probably going to be one of the best Mario games ever, to be completely honest. I know we already had Mario Maker in the past, but this game is going to blow that game out of proportion in terms of 1, the online community, 2, like I said, all the new assets and everything, new characters. So I'm hyped. And probably the biggest surprise overall for this game was that it's coming out this June. I could have sworn, if you asked me, do you think Mario Maker was, prior to that Direct, if you asked me, do you think Mario Maker will be in this Direct? I would say it probably will, but it'll probably just be teased. It'll probably be fully unveiled at E3, and it'll come out in the holiday season. But no, it got fully unveiled in this Direct, and it's coming out this June. It should be out by around E3. They don't have an actual date tied to it yet, but still. We're getting it in about 4 months, and I'm very hyped. So next up, they talked about The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, which is a complete remaster of the original game. Well, obviously, it bears the same title. I'm just surprised it didn't put, Link's Awakening HD or something like that. I guess it doesn't really matter. They already have Link's Awakening DX on the Game Boy Color, so I guess you don't want too many Link's Awakening games with, a whole bunch of other subtitles to them. But yeah, the game looked really good overall. I never played Link's Awakening, but it's one of my brother's favorite games on the Game Boy / Game Boy Color line. It was one of the first games he's probably ever played. Well, not the first, but it's probably, one of the first big games that he owned as a kid. So he's really excited for it. And like I said, I've watched him play it a little bit when I was younger, but only a little bit. So I don't have too much exposure to the game itself. So I'm actually really happy that this game's coming out so I can play a more modern version of it. I was thinking about potentially just getting it on the 3DS Virtual Console or something like that, and playing it somewhat soon, the summer or the spring, and then comparing that the older version to the newer version. I really hope that they add a lot of content, because I don't know how long the game is, since once again I didn't play it myself. But considering that it's a Game Boy Color slash game, it's actually an original Game Boy game that was then ported to the Game Boy Color, or remastered for the Game Boy Color, I guess, whatever you want to. It was remastered in color, is the point, with Link's Awakening DX. And I guess my only real concern is that the game might feel like a little too short if it's just kind of like a copy and pasting. I really hope that they're adding more to it. Like they say, like, we're adding more dungeons, or we made the world a bit bigger. Some people might not like me saying that, because some people might want it to be a complete faithful reimagining, and everything looks really faithful as it is. Like, even Link's character model, which I personally like. I like the art style for the most part. I'll be completely honest, I don't like the character model designs, but I'm kind of in the minority, because most people online seem to love it, and they think it's really cute and everything. But you can tell they took every inspiration to make this game feel just like the Game Boy original, because the character model kind of looks just like a 3D version of what Link looked like on the Game Boy version. They didn't try to make him look more realistic. They kind of like, oh no, we're gonna, like I said with Mario Maker, like, they're just gonna own the art style from the Game Boy version and just make it look modern without making it look more realistic. So it looks a little silly, but everyone seems to love it, and I think it's something that'll grow on me. So I'm still really excited. Like I said, if I could nitpick, I mean, I can, like, but I don't like nitpicking. But like, if I were to nitpick, I could be like, hey, I wish it was a completely new Zelda game or something. And yeah, like, I would probably want that over this, but I can't complain too much, because this looks amazing still, you know? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, like, it's not a new game, this is worthless. Like, no, I'm actually still very excited to pick this up. So definitely a really cool surprise. Obviously, it's not gonna be something as big as like Breath of the Wild or anything, but still a fun, lighthearted remake of a very, very, very classic Zelda game. So I'm down. Should be a lot of fun. And that game is coming out in 2019. No release date. I'm assuming it'll be a holiday game, like it'll come out like fall or during the holiday season. Who knows? We could be pleasantly surprised and get it earlier, but I feel like Zelda titles usually drop around the end of the year, unless they're like with Breath of the Wild's case where it was a launch title. So next up, the last like big reveal for me personally was Astral Chain. And this game, it was weird, because when they showed this game off in the Direct, at first, I didn't know what it was, and I was like, what is this game? And I was like, this kind of looks like just another weird robot game. I don't know if I care about it. But then as the trailer went on, like, a lot of the action looked really cool. And the art style, like, everything from the art style and the action looked really cool to me. I was like, hey, this actually looks really cool. And I like the music. The music's catchy. And then, all of a sudden, it says they dropped the name Astral Chain, the release date August 30th. So I'm like, okay, that's coming out very soon. Well, not very soon, but it's coming out this year is my point. It's coming out toward the tail end of the summer. And then they say it's the next big game by Platinum Games. And I was like, I thought Bayonetta 3 was going to be their next big game, but apparently they're working on both games at the same time. They probably have different developers working. They probably have like enough people to work on two different projects. I don't know the size of their team at all, but point is, we're probably not getting Bayonetta 3 this year, which is, I mean, I'm not even a huge Bayonetta fan because I don't really like beat-em-up games. And I'm not really sure exactly how the combat's going to work in Astral Chain, but it looked like there was a lot more depth to the combat. Like, it looked like there was a lot more variety in terms of just battling enemies. So, like, hopefully it's not just really button mashy. There's a lot of other things you can do, like aiming and shooting things. If there's enough variety in the combat, then I really think this is a game that I'm 100% going to get. I really liked it. It looked almost like it was an open world too. So yeah, like, if it ends up being open world, all the better. But overall, the game looked very impressive. It was one of those games where, when the trailer first started, I was kind of just like, what is this? I don't know if I don't really care that much about it. And then, as the trailer progressed, I got like exponentially more interested in it, to the point where I was like, when the trailer ended, I was thinking, hey, this is a game that I want to get. This is awesome. So, very excited for that. And another reveal that wasn't a huge reveal to me, but something that I thought was really funny, Tetris 99. I think a lot of people were laughing at it, because it's basically Tetris Battle Royale. You and I think 98 other people, so 99 people total, are playing Tetris in like a knockout fashion, and last one to survive wins. It's just a funny concept, but at the same time, it's kind of genius, because, I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever played Tetris with friends before, but my one friend and I used to play Tetris on like the 3DS and the WiiWare, and we used to love playing online against each other. It was a lot of fun. And now we're going to be able to not just play against each other, but also against, 97 other people? Like, that's awesome. I'm totally excited for this. It's actually out now, and I downloaded it on my Switch. I just haven't played it yet. I'm kind of waiting for my one friend to have time to be able to play it. So at some point later tonight or tomorrow, we'll probably play it. But yeah, really excited. It looks really funny. Funny, but also cool at the same time. So definitely check that out. The last new game reveal that I thought was worth mentioning, at least that I was interested in, were the Rune Factory games. They announced that Rune Factory 4, a special edition, is coming to the Switch, because I'm pretty positive that was a 3DS game in the past, and Rune Factory 5 is now in development for the Switch. No gameplay or anything was shown, so I'm assuming that's a title for, next year. But Rune Factory I never played Rune Factory, I'll be completely honest, but I remember I almost got Rune Factory 4 in the 3DS when I was in high school, and I didn't. And I kind of wish I did, but at the same time, this game looks really cool. Like, it's a complete remaster. Well, yeah, I guess it's a remaster of Rune Factory 4 for the 3DS. Visuals look still somewhat like just like an up-res 3DS game, to be completely honest. So it's not like a technically impressive game, but overall, it looks like a lot of fun. If you're craving Rune Factory for your 3DS, or you're just looking for a fun, it's kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way my one friend described it to me back in high school is that it's basically like a part simulation Harvest Moon game, but also kind of like a part RPG, where you can kind of explore and do quests. So it's kind of like both in one, and you can kind of treat the game however you want, which I always thought was really cool. Like, imagine Animal Crossing, but you could go on, quests, in Breath of the Wild, go on little quests. I don't know. I know that's, a really, really terrible analogy, but you get the idea. Like I said, if you played a Rune Factory game, comment in the section below if that's an accurate description at all. But, it looked cool, and it's a game that I'm considering getting. So, the rest of the games I'm going to be talking about are all games that we've known prior to this Direct, but I just want to talk about the new information that we got. So, Fire Emblem Three Houses. It looked interesting, I guess is a good way to put it. They didn't really talk much about the story. At the beginning, they were talking about, this is the land you're going to be in, and blah, 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 the 3 different institutions, and all that stuff. And they didn't really talk about, the story in terms of the backstory, why are you at war, exactly, and, maybe it's skipped over my head, maybe they did, but the main thing I got from it is that the game, you're a teacher, you're a professor, and you can choose one of 3 different institutions to kind of train your warriors and mages and stuff like that with. It looked really cool. I like that concept. I just wish they talked a little bit more about the actual chapters of the game, because I want to make sure the game is structured like a normal Fire Emblem game is. I'm sure it will be. The combat isn't changing at all. If anything, everything they showed off kind of looks like just a thing that you can do on the back end. In between missions, you train your students and warriors and everything, which is really cool. I do like that. So I'm definitely still interested in it, and I think it's gonna be really good. I don't know. The entire, there are so many people joking around that the game is basically like Harry Potter and you're teaching at Hogwarts, basically, since you're teaching a whole bunch of students how to fight and perform spells and stuff like that. But overall, memes aside, it does look really good. I like having that entire backstory thing to do with well, not really backstory, but basically something to do on the side of the main quests that actually helps you for the main quest. So that is really cool. There's apparently there's an explorative area too, a pretty big explorative area. So yeah, I'm actually pretty excited for it. The only thing that underwhelmed me about the game, the visuals. They didn't improve at all since E3, really. At least they didn't seem improved to me. The character models look good, but the overworld, during the battles, when you're looking at everything from the top-down view, it looks alright, but then as soon as you see the backdrops and everything, when the camera starts to go dynamic and change, it kind of just looks like a GameCube game back from 2003 or 4. Yeah, visuals are definitely not the strong point of the game, but I'm not going to complain too much. It looks like they're adding a decent amount of new features, ways to improve your warriors and everything, ways to improve all the characters on your team without actually just keep playing through the main story. So awesome. Looks like there's gonna be more flexibility with like who you're gonna be able to teach what. It just looks really good. It looks like a more flexible Fire Emblem game. And once again, I know there are a whole bunch of memes about Hogwarts and everything, and I wish we saw a little bit more of like chapter gameplay and to make sure it's like structured like a normal Fire Emblem game. But overall, I'm really excited. And if anyone's watching this and you're like a huge Fire Emblem fan and you're kind of like listening to me, you're like, everything you're saying is void and stupid, you're obviously not a Fire Emblem fan. I've only played a couple games in the series. I've only played the Sacred Stones and Awakening, but I like the structure of those games, and I just want to make sure that it's going to play like them. And I'm sure it will. I know I'm probably worrying too much about things, but I think it was just because they like doubled down on the school concept, which looks cool, but I just want to make sure that the rest of the game is still Fire Emblem. I'm sure it is once again. Like I said, I'm probably worrying over nothing, but overall, look good. It's coming out July 26th, sorry, and which technically means it did get delayed again, but whatever. It's coming out soon. It's coming out this summer. Should be really good. And then there's Yoshi's Crafted World, which there's not really much to talk about here. We've known and seen so much gameplay about this game before. The only real thing I want to talk about is the demo. There was a demo released on the eShop right after the Direct. I downloaded it and played through it all, and it's really good. It plays a lot like Woolly World. You only get to play the first level of the game, though, so the level's very basic. There's not really any platforming involved. Like, there's very little platforming involved in the level. It's mainly just throwing eggs and finding all the collectibles. That's pretty much what it comes down to. I mean, Yoshi games have historically always been on the easier side when it comes to just completing them. 100%ing them is where most of the challenge comes in. I loved Woolly World, and this game looks like it's really good. And not just looks, I mean, I played it. It plays really well, too. Overall, like I said, really excited for the eventual release. I will admit, Woolly World did seem a bit more aesthetically pleasing to me. Like, the music of the first level of Woolly World and the overall visual style looked a lot better than it does in Crafted World. But that is kind of a subjective opinion. Like, that's my opinion, is my point. And the game still looked really good on the Switch. It looks like it's running either at 720p or 900p. It did not look crisp enough to be like a full 1080p. But it's running at 60 frames. The menus run at 30 frames, but the actual game itself runs at 60. Which I think Woolly World was like the same. I think Woolly World was under the same exact restrictions there. So I think Woolly World was like 720p, 30 frames in menus, and 60 frames in the actual stages. And I forget if Woolly World was made with Unreal Engine or not. I don't think it was, but I could be wrong. But Crafted World is being made with Unreal Engine, so. But I guess it doesn't really matter since it's running at like the same exact specifications as Woolly World did. So whatever. Overall, though, really good. Definitely recommend downloading it and giving it a spin. Just remember, it's not like the most challenging platformer. It's not like it's a new Super Mario Bros. Or Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. It's very mellow. But there's even a mode called Mellow Mode, and I feel like it's so unnecessary because the game itself is already so mellow. But maybe the game will ramp up in difficulty. I mean, there did seem to be some stages in the gameplay that we saw that made. Like, there were some stages where you were in the sky and you had to keep jumping on birds, so it looked like easier to fall off there. But, first level, pretty basic. 3 more games I want to talk about. First up, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker got an unexpected update. Well, 2 updates, technically. One is a free co-op update, so you can play the entire game in co-op. I think there was already a co-op mode, but, like, it was kind of like a quote-unquote co-op mode, because one person controlled Toad or Toadette, and then the other person controlled, like, a mouse pointer. Think of like Mario Galaxy's co-op mode. It was kind of like that. So they're adding a true co-op mode where you can have 2 Toads or like a Toad and a Toadette on the screen at once. I think like one person plays as Captain Toad or Toadette no matter what, and the other person just plays as like a random blue Toad. But yeah, a complete co-op mode where you have 2 Toads running around. They said you can play through and it's not even like a separate thing. Like you can replay through the entire game in co-op. All stages support it. So that's a really nice new addition, and I think I never bought Captain Toad, and I was always planning on buying it soon. And I'm gonna get it, but I'm thinking of either getting it soon to play it solo, or maybe I'll get it when I go on like a vacation or something like that, and I can play it with my brother or something like that in the car, because that would be pretty cool. But we'll see. There's also paid DLC, which includes 5 stages and 18 challenges to complete inside those 5 stages. The DLC is $6, and it's funny because when I saw it was $6, it's like, oh, that's a steal. And then when I looked and saw there were only 5 stages that you get, because the stages in Captain Toad are pretty small and short. So I really hope that whoever buys the DLC, like, says that it's just, like, that purchasing it, they felt justified with the amount of content that they got. It probably is a decent amount of content, and I just don't own the game and really can't relate. But I played the demo of Captain Toad and really enjoyed it, and I told myself eventually one day I will purchase it when I finish my backlog. I'll probably always have a backlog, and I'll just buy the game in March, but whatever. Overall, really excited to pick it up, and it's nice that we're getting some extra content. Also, Daemon X Machina, or Machina, sorry. I can't speak. It's coming out this summer, and there's a demo out for the eShop now. To be completely honest, I didn't play it. I played the Yoshi's Woolly World or Crafter World demo. I downloaded Tetris 99. I'm planning on playing with my friend either tonight or tomorrow. The Daemon X Machina demo, I'll probably download tonight, and I'll get around to playing it over the weekend. So I can't really give you my thoughts on that, but I just wanted to mention it to anyone that is looking for any more free goodies from the Direct. And last but not least, Final Fantasy VII got a release date. Other Final Fantasy games got a release date, but 7 was the one that I was like really, really interested in, because I've actually never played a Final Fantasy game, heard really good things about them, so I thought 7 would probably be a good place to start, since it's known to be one of, if not the best Final Fantasy games, so I'll pick it up. It'll probably end up being like $20 or cheaper digitally too, because I think Final Fantasy 9 is $20. So Final Fantasy 7, I'm assuming, is going to be 20 or cheaper. I'll pay $20 for it, I guess. I never played it, so heard really good things about it. It's coming out March 26th, so a little bit of a wait. I thought that it was going to be one of those games where they said, like, oh, it's out now after the Direct, or it's out in a week. But still, it's only a little over a month, so I guess it's not a big deal. It just kind of stings that it's coming out mere days before Yoshi's Crafter World. So I'll probably not pick up Final Fantasy VII right away, because I already have Crafter World pre-ordered. So I'll probably pick up Final Fantasy VII some point in April. That's everything I wanted to talk about the Direct, but before we go, I wanted to talk about how awesome the second half of this year is, but kind of how barren the first half is. So let's look at first-party games. I'm talking about first-party games. I know, obviously, there are a ton of other games, like indie games and third-party games. I even just mentioned that I want to pick up Captain Toad from last year, that I want to get Final Fantasy VII. So I'm not saying there's not going to be any games for me to play, because there are. But in terms of new big AAA Nintendo games, all we have until June is Yoshi's Crafter World in March, and I guess New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which came out a month ago. It's not a lot. Like, I was actually kind of hoping that we get at least one more game announced for the first half of the year, and we didn't. I mean, I guess technically Mario Maker is the first half of the year because it's in June, the first 6 months, but it's coming out pretty much at the midpoint. Like, you know what I mean? It's coming out at the turning point from half, like from one half to another. But honestly, it's not that big of a deal because, like I said, there are still a lot of good third-party games coming. They're indies, and on top of that, once June hits, we're getting a big game pretty much every month, because Mario Maker 2 is in June, Fire Emblem's in July, Astral Chain is in August, and then for the holiday season, given nothing gets delayed, we know we're getting The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, Animal Crossing, Pokemon 8th Gen, and Luigi's Mansion 3. And there's even the potential that we could get like 1 or 2 other small games announced. Like, there could be a Super Mario Party 2 in development. Who knows? Maybe that Star Fox game is... No, it's probably not. Honestly, I think that game was either just canned or, like, I don't know. Whatever. Who knows what happened to that game. But overall, like I said, definitely a really good Direct. It kind of stings that we didn't get any Animal Crossing news. We didn't get any Luigi's Mansion 3 news. No Pokemon news. Not that I was expecting Pokemon, but still. And not as many games for the first half. But so many other good things happened. Mario Maker 2. Tetris 99 of all things. It's funny. Astral Chain. A Link to the... Not A Link to the Past. Link's Awakening. I keep getting them confused. The title is confused. I'm sorry if I said A Link to the Past earlier in this video. I may have. But a remake to Link's Awakening in glorious HD. So many good games were announced. And we got a ton of information on Fire Emblem. It was overall a really good Direct. A little too many RPGs for my personal liking. But overall, I really enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought about the Direct in the comment section below. And I guess that's going to cover it for now. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.